What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to be exploring one of the most famous and beautiful drives in the country, the $1 Million Highway in Colorado's San Juan Mountains. I'll be going over the best hikes to do, places to visit, and everything in between. This will be a comprehensive travel guide to help you plan a future trip here. The $1 Million Highway, or Route 550, is a drive that stretches from Ouray to Silverton. Some sources continue it from Ouray to Durango, and I've even seen some sources that include the drive west to Telluride. Nonetheless, the drive from Ouray to Silverton is one of the most beautiful, no matter the time of year. But it can also be a scary drive. Locals used to joke that you couldn't pay them $1 million to drive the road, and others say the name came from the high cost to continue to build infrastructure for the road. Anyways, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump right in. This is my top 10 hikes and places to visit on the $1 Million Highway. First up on the list is what I like to call Colorado's Rainbow Mountain, and that is Red Mountain number 3. This is a beautiful hike that has you ascend an old mining road to the summit of Red Mountain 3, standing tall at roughly 12,890 feet above sea level. If you can drive up to the upper gate, it makes the hike 4.5 miles round trip with around 1,500 feet of elevation gain, and you should be able to make it to the upper trailhead. Our Toyota Corolla had no issues on the dirt road. At the top of this mountain, you'll be surrounded by unbelievable views in every direction. You'll see 14ers in the distance, the $1 Million Highway below, fall foliage everywhere if you hike this in October like we did, and you can see almost every single famous mountain pass from up here. It's a stunning hike that I'd recommend for everyone. And speaking of mountain passes, Bree and I both have two-wheel drive low-clearance sedans, so this top 10 will not include any mountain passes, sadly. Hopefully one day we can experience some of these, but I am going to list them really quick so they get their time in the sun and in case you do have the appropriate vehicle, but we do not have footage of them since we haven't been. The $1 Million Highway includes access to Black Bear Pass, Ophir Pass, Imogene Pass, Cinnamon Pass, Corkscrew Pass, Poughkeepsie Pass, and Engineer Pass. And apologies in advance if I did pronounce any of those wrong. Back to the list though, at number 2 we have Coline Lake, a beautiful trail in the southwest San Juans. The trailhead is practically on the side of the road of the $1 Million Highway. The views just getting to the trailhead are breathtaking. From the trailhead, you're going to start your hike on Coline Lake Trail number 509, and it'll be an 8-mile round-trip hike with just under 3,000 feet of elevation gain. After the first mile or so, you aren't really hiking in the trees, mostly open fields and on the sides of the mountain, so you have a wide open view for most of the trail, with the view just getting better and better as you get higher in elevation. The lake is so beautiful, it's a rich deep blue that just glows when the sun hits it. It's a great place to see wildflowers, and it's a great place for photography, and if you hike this during wildflower season, you'll see a variety of flowers, but make sure to look out for the state flower, the columbine. There's an endless amount of them on this trail. The hike to Coline Lake is best done during the summer months when the weather is milder and the peaks aren't covered in snow. Next up, we're heading to Crystal Lake at Hayden Trailhead. This is a beautiful roadside stop that's always worth getting out of the car for. If you're looking for a beautiful and easily accessible alpine lake, then this one's for you. Crystal Lake is stunning. My favorite time I've been here has been in October during fall foliage. It's also a great place for photography, and the views are endless in every direction. I'd also encourage you to walk around the lake on the Mears Trail as the view changes slightly with every single step. Crystal Lake is just 14 minutes south of Ouray, so if you're exploring the $1 Million Highway and using a hotel in Ouray as your base camp, this makes this a really easy stop to do any time of the day. Maybe even for sunrise to start the morning as you continue your drive south along the highway. At number 4, we have Cascade Creek Falls. This is just under 1 hour south of a drive from Crystal Lake and 30 minutes south of Silverton. It's a relatively small waterfall, but I think it's one of the coolest in the state. The waterfall is situated between two massive canyon walls that feature plenty of rock climbing routes, and the water flows right through the canyon and into an aqua blue oasis of a pool below. We stayed at Purgatory Resort the last time we visited this area, and it's practically across the street from here. On Google Maps, it'll show up as Cascade Creek Rapids. We've been here a few times, and almost every time we've hiked the wrong trail initially and had to go back to the car and start over. Just know that if you follow a trail and end up on top of the canyon walls with a huge drop-off, then you're not in the right place. So when you park off of the $1 Million Highway, hike east along the dirt road, and then after the sign, take a right turn that'll take you around the canyon wall, then you'll descend along the wall right to the base of the waterfall. It's not more than a mile round trip from the car. Our next Alpine Lake hike in the San Juan Mountains is taking us to Island Lake and Ice Lake via the Ice Lakes Trail. This hike is a short drive down a dirt road right off the $1 Million Highway, and I want to note that I haven't done this hike in about 5 to 6 years, although I am itching to get back to climb Ulysses S. Grant Peak, but that being said, things may have changed for the following information. When we went, the road was dirt, but any car could make it to the trailhead, which is right across the street from South Mineral Campground, and at the trailhead we had to register for the hike, and at the time, camping up on the trail was as easy as registering in the same logbook. I still don't believe you need any permits for either of these, but don't quote me on this one. The hike is a steep one, however. It's roughly 7 to 8 miles with 27 feet of elevation gain. Ice Lake is one of the bluest lakes in Colorado. It's more of a deep blue than aqua. At least when we saw it, it was breathtaking. Then a short hike around the mountain. The trail will take you to Island Lake, and this lake is right under Ulysses S. Grant Peak, and there's a beautiful island in the middle of the lake, and the lake had beautiful deep green colors, backdropped by the colorful San Juan Mountains. This is a bucket list hike. It's also another great place to see wildflowers. Next up at number 6, we have Bear Creek Falls, a massive and beautiful waterfall just south of Ouray. I'd like to note that there is more than one Bear Creek Falls in Colorado, and Google Maps and most blogs will steer you towards Telluride, but for this video, I'm referring to the one that is not a hike and the one that is exactly 2.8 miles south of Ouray and only a 5-minute drive from town. Similar to Crystal Lake, this is a very easy stop and 100% worth it. It's funny, the first 5 times or so that we went to the $1 Million Highway, I had no idea this existed. We drove right past it. I can't believe how many times we missed it once we finally came here. The roadside pull-off is obvious, but you can't see the waterfall from the road, so you have to pull over to enjoy this epic waterfall. Next up, we're exploring Ouray's Ice Park on the south side of town between Box Canyon Falls and the famous Switzerland of America sign. This is one of the most famous ice climbing locations in the world, and it's a great place for beginners to try ice climbing. You can book a tour from town if you don't have the gear or a friend to show you the ropes. The ice park is also home to the Ouray Ice Festival, which is a multi-day annual event held here in January, and it attracts some of the best ice climbers in the world. The ice park is incredible to visit in the winter, and even if you don't want to climb yourself, just to watch other people climbing is a really cool experience. And in the summer, this is also home to Ouray's Via Ferrata, a daunting traverse through the canyon. There's 2 options for this, one being more beginner friendly and one that's more physically demanding and advanced. My favorite thing about this is that you're actually able to do the Via Ferrata self-guided so long as you have the proper equipment and experience. Otherwise, you can book a guided tour for this in town. Also, it's worth mentioning that I have a top 10 video specific to Ouray only, showcasing the best hikes and things to do in town, so make sure to check that out. At number 8, we're doing a day tour on the famous Durango Silverton train. This is one of the most scenic train rides I've ever done, voted number 1 in the country for the last 2 years. Similar to Crystal Lake, and the best time of year to do this, in my opinion, is during fall foliage. It takes you right through the heart of the San Juan Mountains. The train takes 3.5 hours one way from Durango to Silverton, and then you stop for lunch in Silverton, and you can either take the train back 3.5 hours or purchase a bus ticket that'll take you back to Durango in a 1-hour drive. They have different booking options throughout the year, including the Cascade Canyon during the winter, the Polar Express, and the classic Durango to Silverton steam option. Prices range from between $50 for the cheapest option during the year and up to $280 per person. The price changes based on the length of the tour you take, whether it's a one-way or a round-trip ticket, and if you take a standard seat or book a first-class ticket. And you can buy a mug for the ride, and there's unlimited refills of water, coffee, chai tea, soda, and much more. So we really love this, and they also serve alcoholic drinks and food on the train. Next up at number 9 is Vestal Peak, which also includes Vestal Basin and Vestal Lake. You can start your hike here by taking the Durango train and getting off at Elk Park. This will shorten your hike and take off some of the elevation gain, or you can hike the trail starting from Mullis Lake, which will be a 9.6 mile one-way hike with 3,800 feet of elevation gain just to get to the lake. You'll descend first to Elk Park and the train tracks, and then you'll have a steady climb up to the basin. This is one of the most beautiful places and underrated places I've ever been to in Colorado. The long hike was really brutal, but so worth it. My friend Patrick and I did a backpacking trip here to climb Vestal Peak Swam Ridge, and it was one of the most amazing climbs I've ever done. But we had to carry food, water, climbing gear, rope, and backpacking gear like a tent, sleeping bag, and sleeping pad. So doing this long hike with 60-pound bags was difficult to say the least. Whether you want to hike to the basin, lake, or climb the peak, this is a very advanced hike, and I would only recommend it to those with experience hiking deep in the backcountry, and I would only recommend trying the peak if you have climbing experience. The day of our climb, there was search and rescue efforts for a hiker that got lost a few days before, so that shows the severity of this hike and destination. At number 10, we have a few places that I'm combining into one. That's Little Mullis Lake, and Mullis Pass. All 3 of these can be seen in a short afternoon outing, and the pass is a beautiful drive where the summit of it stands tall at 10,910 feet above sea level, and it's just 10 minutes south of Silverton. You can enjoy the lakes from a distance with the peaks surrounding you, or you can get up close to the lakes, and if there's no wind, you can see some pretty epic reflections on the water. I don't fish, but every time we've been here, there's been people fishing, and I can't imagine a prettier backdrop to do this at. I'll add one quick bonus. So for number 11, we have Andrews Lake, another great destination for someone looking to fish or someone looking for a great place to have a picnic with the family. This is just 4 minutes south of Mullis Pass. It's a quick and easy stop. And a few other honorable mentions that I want to include for the video are Box Canyon Falls, Mount Sneffels, Blue Lakes, and downtown Telluride. But anyways, that's gonna wrap up this video. We just scratched the surface today as there's an endless amount of things to do and places to visit on the $1 Million Highway, but I really hope you enjoyed this video. And again, it would mean the world to me if you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is a free and easy way to support us as creators and help us to continue to make these travel guides. But anyways, thanks again for watching. I'll see you later.